Machines have risen. They believe it's their time to rule. But we will prove them wrong.
Awakened by a world overrun by corrupted AI, you must pilot your charming mech and find your lost pilot whilst trying to survive the tribulations of a testing and hostile world all the while. Functioning as an isometric, twin-stick shooter, Uragun provides plenty of fast-paced, intense mech action, as well as offering some surprisingly beautiful animations and graphics. Its drawbacks are only in its limiting genre of choice, but for what the game is, it's great. Never before has a video game title been so apt. You are a gun. In every sense of the word, you are literally a gun. What else is a mech other than a walking tank? Uragun does not flatter itself in this regard either, as it provides a plethora of different guns and special abilities in the form of heat attacks. Both of these offensive weaponry work perfectly in conjunction to defend yourself against your enemies and combat them competently. Some weapons provided are more effective against certain types of enemies too, which injects a decent level of strategy to the chaos rather than just mindless shooting. Experimentation is key, especially when considering how best to conquer large swarms of enemies versus a singular, heavily armoured foe. Devising a dynamic plan in battle and executing it feels extremely satisfying, and awards you with a level of control and agency in combat that I was not expecting from a game as fast-paced as this. Heat attacks also encourage players to be offensive and aggressive, as enemies will drop orbs that will power up your special attacks when defeated. All of these qualities crescendo into unrelenting warfare that remains fun and engaging throughout the game. Well, throughout the demo at least. It seems like a no-brainer, but mech combat really lends itself perfectly to the twin-stick shooter genre. I'm surprised it hasn't been done before. It affords players much more manoeuvrability and speed, as well as increased vision and scope of the battlefield. It makes a lot more sense for a machine to absorb power-ups, weapons and abilities as well, as opposed to a human for example. The only aspect that is disappointing, as far as the gameplay is concerned, is the omission of multiplayer of any kind. Uragun could really benefit from including a co-op mode at the very least. It has the potential to be a special game if this was part of a larger, multiplayer ecosystem filled with all the facets that come along with that. Minus any egregious microtransactions of course. With that said though, at its core, it is still a solid and fun experience. This appears to be Cool to Play's first foray into gaming, with two mysterious other projects in the works, codenamed Project Y and Project X. Despite their lack of experience, Uragun not only feels intuitive and smooth, but it looks nothing short of amazing. The graphics on display here are quite impressive, as are the animations, especially in the effects that your guns and abilities emit. When the proverbial shit hits the fan, the screen fills with a celebration of explosions, lasers and lights, which is a sight to behold. Add to this varied, colourful and distinct locations in which to commence battle, and it makes for a truly epic experience. Uragun's brilliance is that it knows exactly what it wants and needs to be. Its focus is clear and it executes it seemingly flawlessly. With enough content and variation within, this game has a potential to be a real classic of the genre. I would recommend you keep a close eye on this title, especially if you're a big fan of mech combat and or twin stick shooters.